Good day to you. I got my cup of coffee. I hope you have a beverage of choice if you're thirsty. And in this lesson, we are going to talk about red eye. Now, I'm not talking about the movie Red Eye, because that was a movie that came out recently. But I'm talking about in a photo. Let's see. See that little kid there, his eyes? You know what causes red eye? Well, if you have a flash and the subject is looking directly into the camera or the flash, the light or the retina of the eye actually bounces the light right back into the camera, and that creates this red eye effect. So, built into Photoshop Elements is a red eye reducer, fixer. Pretty much eliminates red eye. So, if you have a photo that has some red eye in it, you can pull that up. Or you can use one of this sample photo that I've pulled from the samples of Photoshop CS2. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create some red eye because there's no red eye in it. And then I'm going to show you how to use the red eye eliminator. So, let's go into View and Organize Photos. And again, you don't have to use this photo. If you have something, an image that has red eye in it, go ahead and use that. Alright. If you've never tried honey in your coffee, give it a whirl, because it smooths it out, makes it wonderful. Just my preference. Alright. We're in. Now if you noticed, you may not have noticed, but just something I thought I'd point out. When we were first opening up the organizer, we saw all the photos together, and now we're just seeing a single version of each photo, and we have to scroll down. Well, I just want to show you that view can be changed right down here. And if you hover over this, it says small thumbnail size. So, we can click on that, and then we see all the photos that we've imported into the library. And then we could go back to single photo view or full screen even. So, I've already imported the photo here, but you should be able to find this in the samples folder. So let's grab this photo and we're going to import it into Standard Edit. Yeah, the sun finally came out today, so I hope the sun is shining upon you and the temperature is good. Here we are. This sample photo has a little girl in it, and we may use this in the future to do some other things, but first of all we're going to zoom in on her face because we're going to give her some red eye because she doesn't have any. There we go. That's close enough. So I just grabbed the zoom tool and zoomed in. Now I'm going to grab the brush tool. Make sure you don't have the impressionist brush or the color replacement or the pencil. Just grab the regular brush tool. And again, that's by right-clicking over because of the little caret. And we want something very small. I picked 4 pixels. Whatever size you pick, when you hover over the image, you can see how big of a stroke it's going to make. So if I make this bigger, you can see it's going to be a gigantic stroke. So I'm going to go back down to about 4. And once you've clicked on this, you can then use your little arrow keys to go incrementally 1 pixel at a time. So you don't have to guess and say, oh, I'm going to try to get as close as I can to that. Get it somewhere near, and then you can just use your arrow. So about 4 is correct for this zoom level, but depending on how far you've zoomed in, your zoom level, your brush size may be different than mine. But you basically want it smaller than the eye itself, so you can create this little red eye effect. Now over here to the left, below all the tools, is our foreground and background colors. If you double click on either one of those, you can change it. You can also go back to the default, as you can see there, foreground and background colors, which is black and white. And then this little arrow here, well, the double-sided arrow, it switches them. See? Now it made the red the background and the white the foreground, so you can go back and forth. So this may not default to red, so double click and just choose something up in the far right hand corner of red. So you can take this color wheel, and you notice how it's in the red section, but you can move to an orangish section. Yellow, green, blue, purple. So once you're in a section, then you can choose whether you want it entirely. Looks like a pinkish purple. And it gets darker down here, and it gets lighter over here. So if you want a lighter purple, you'd pick it here, and it gets lighter and lighter. And then this is a more solid purple, and it gets darker and darker here, as well as getting into an in-between color here. So we want red eye. So we're going to pick over in the red section. It doesn't have to be a perfect red, so it'll default to being up in this right-hand corner, which is fine. So again, the arrows can be used with this also. So if we're here and we wanted a little bit greener, we could just use the arrow and go up until we're into more. Down is up, and up is down for this particular color wheel. So as I'm pressing down, it's moving up. And as I'm pressing up, it's moving down. So I want red, red. So go down here. I happen to click pretty close to red, red, so you don't need to adjust it. But if you do, you can always use your arrows. So, too long of an explanation there, I think. Red. We want red. And it's set as our foreground. And now we're going to go over the eyes. And if you notice, the opacity is at 100%. Mode normal, 4 pixels. That's all fine. You can just leave that as a default. And we're going to click once, somewhere in the middle of the eye. And now we have a little bit of a red eye. But I want a little bit more of a red eye. So click a couple times, maybe 3. Then go over here. You can even click the same spot a couple times. Well, that looks freaky, doesn't it? So if we zoom out, just pick the unzoom button. There we go. That, see, you don't want that. So, now for the removal of the red eye. What you want to do is zoom in as much as you can on where the eyes are. So we'll go back in. And over here, to the left of the healing brush, is a picture of an eye with our hash marks. Red eye removal tool. So just pick it. There's nothing else hidden under it. And now you want to click on where the red eye is. So I'm going to go right over top this and click. And now it's doing its thing. And that red eye is gone. Now I'm going to click on this red eye. And it's gone. Now we can zoom back out. And look at that. Perfect. So this is something you're probably going to use a lot, especially if you have a lot of images with red eye. And it's so simple to use. Yep, there you go. So have fun.